All right, we're back in. We are.
Where's my mic?
We're Mornings with Matt and Bob.
It's been too long.
We're on camera, which means it's brought to you by Renegade, RenegadeTruck.net. And this is... All right.
Already the banter.
The show off the show is always great.
They came in hot today. The Archangels are here. Charlie, Sexton, the Whipper. Is it Whipper or the Whipper?
Whatever.
We cut to say.
Chris
What
Layton.
is it, Charlie?
Chris Whisper later.
Yeah. Oh God.
You're my favorite drummer. Chris Whisper later.
That's a good one.
Chris Layton.
San Antonio.
That's right,
they're in just to bust our balls and promote a show that they got coming up.
Oh no.
We're sharing fashion tips and what kind of glasses are those, Charlie?
You know what? They're the kind that help me see.
Okay.
I literally can't see anything without them.
I didn't know if they were I wear the Jacques Marie Mage.
No.
That's the place where you spend stupid money.
I'll spend stupid money
These
on
are just Ray-Bans.
Oh, nice. But, you're looking good.
Thank you.
I
can see.
You guys are like rock stars. You are rock stars. What can I say?
Hey,
Oh God.
welcome back.
Can you call my family and tell them that, please?
Isn't that so true about family? My kids think I'm the least cool. I'm not the fun dad. I'm not cool. They don't care what I do. It has no impact on them.
No, they care. They care what you do. They
Unless
don't
they need
care
a
what you
ticket.
say about it.
Right. If they need a ticket to something,
Then they
I'm their
care.
guy.
Yeah.
I'm their guy.
Yeah. This one is it. So,
Yeah.
that thing?
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
What's going on? Nothing. Oh, just in that.
And I know, Matt's going through it at home with the Taylor Swift thing and all that stuff going on.
I haven't even told you guys the news.
Matt, what are you going through?
What? So you actually?
He's got a
I
daughter.
have a teenage daughter, 13.
So what? Did you get this? Are you a Swiftie?
I'm not. We didn't get tickets, and then my daughter...
$40 short. It's a French cuff. No tickets.
I haven't gotten that either. Before you bust my balls up, Look,
I'm with you, by the way. I understand. I told
Charlie
you. I almost didn't make it. I was going to turn around and go try to. Like I said, I know I have French cuffs.
you can't. I know you can't give me S2 because anytime I see you on stage,
Just to the nines.
you're on goddamn point.
Wide brim
okay?
hat.
We used to. You look fantastic when you're on stage, Charlie. And
Not so much now, but
No, that's not
come
true.
on.
You
Come
have
on, Charlie.
tailored suits. You have those damn rock and roll boots where you
Pointy.
You look like you're 7 feet tall, and all the ladies are all.
No.
I've seen you out with your family at burger joints.
Yeah.
And you look like a rock star. So I don't want to hear S from you about you spent $100
No, but
on
here's
a
the
shirt.
thing. That's the problem. Is the look-like part. Because it's going to be like, you look like, and I'm like, oh, God, please.
Yeah,
no,
please.
No.
Yeah.
I'll take that. When people, you know what they say to me when they come up to me? They go, "Hi, do you work here at this Target? You look like you work here at this Target." And
Am I wearing a red shirt?
yeah, well, I have made that mistake a couple times.
I saw you perform. Last time I saw you, you were playing with a country artist at ACL Fest.
Oh, it was Calder Allen.
Yeah, that was a great show. You look great, and you look like I intimidated. I didn't even approach you because it's just intimidating.
Well, it's one of my vampire moves,
Yeah,
Is that what it is?
It's young blood. It's new blood.
Yeah.
That's Terry Allen's grandson.
that's right. That's
like
now I
19.
remember. Yeah, now I remember. Yeah,
And I've known him. Well, I knew him before he was. Well, I didn't know him before he was born because he wasn't.
Yeah,
wasn't born.
To be known, but anyway.
It was a great set, man. It was
See what
great.
happens. See, I'm real man about 2:30 a.m. On point right now. Not so much.
Well,
You still got it.
Yeah, we've
You still
made a
got it.
living out of not being able to put together sentences. So you're amongst friends and a listener group. There's just like, yeah, we have only listened to stutterers, so it works out perfectly for them.
Let's catch up a little bit, and then we'll talk about the show and the charity that's coming up at Riverbend Center Thursday, May 4th. We'll get to all that stuff, but let's catch up because it's been a while since we've seen you. I know we saw you at the Paramount Theater a few years ago. Thank you for everything that you did. So much fun, and I'm sorry
that was a special night.
I blew Born the Run. I didn't let it go on long enough.
Why not?
But
What do you mean?
I don't know that. The part at the end where you're supposed to kind of keep.
I'm calling Stevie. I'm like, hey,
I know
this guy.
I know. And we'll talk about Little Steven and stuff because I read his book and you guys are in there.
Oh, don't get us started.
Oh, yeah.
Doyle's in there.
Doyle
Doyle's in. Where's Doyle?
Little Steven, not a fan of everybody in the group.
I had no idea about that. That all came through on a Zoom interview.
I forgot that.
So I said, "Oh yeah, by the way, the Little Steven's book." And I'm like, "Oh no, yeah, I'm aware of it. I didn't read it." They're like, "Oh yeah, well,
yeah, we won't get." But so,
not good.
We'll catch up with you first, Charlie. Are you an official imposter now?
I'm
with Elvis Costello.
You know what? It appears that I'm a special guest imposter.
You're a guest imposter, so you can't walk around.
Special imposter.
Okay, a special
guest
imposter.
So I'm kind of a half imposter.
So you've been out. Of course, you've been out with Dylan for many years, but you're out with Elvis Costello a lot. And how's that? How's that working? Because that's like, I feel like we have something in common that I'm close to Elvis myself. But he doesn't know this, but I've run in over my life since I was
Elvis.
I've run into him.
Are you awake?
I've run into him.
So they're like, hey, what's up? 2:30 a.m.
I run into him.
Who is this?
I run into him like a half a dozen times in my life, and I'm a huge fan. And it's just always
that happens when you hang outside someone's bedroom.
He's out and about and approachable.
I saw him at I was just in a record store one day, and the guy next to me is flipping through some records.
Yeah,
and I go, Elvis, it's like, do you remember me? Of course he didn't, but I've had lots of.
He's lovely.
Lots of little stories about Elvis over the years, and they're all great.
Me too.
Yeah. So you're enjoying it?
It's great. I mean, it's a what can I tell you?
Well, of course
I've been a fan of Elvis since.
Right.
I mean, that's one of the first records I had on my own with my little cassette player.
Yeah.
Was the first record.
When you're playing, what is the favorite? Like when he kicks into a song that you're involved in, and which one makes you the happiest?
To go from one catalog to the next, from Bob to Elvis.
Yeah.
I mean, it's apples and oranges, obviously, but there's a lot of songs.
Like when Pump It Up kicks in, because Elvis he's generous with playing the hits. That's what I love about Elvis.
Yeah.
Is that last time I saw him, it was like a greatest hits show, and
hits for him it's.
They're all hits.
It's not like I got a brand new pen.
Right.
It's Peace, Love, and Understanding, which was written by Nick Lowe.
Nick Lowe.
There's a bunch of great songs.
Yeah. How long is a lead time? As a layperson, this is when you get hired, you're going to go on tour. How long do you have to learn a canon? When someone says, "Hey, you need to grab all these songs," or is it just that you're at a level where you know the song, you know what's happening in the key, and I'm going to be okay?
A little of both. I mean, I have work ethic. I can be lazy for whatever reason, but it's not necessarily that. It's more procrastination.
Okay.
But I'm
artist.
I am a in the moment kind of situation,
Gotcha.
Thankfully, when I came aboard with Elvis, which was totally, that story is hilarious.
Did you meet him at ACL? Because I saw pictures of you guys I follow you guys on Instagram and stuff.
I think that picture, that's one of the first gigs I did.
Okay.
Because I've known Elvis, I met him 85, 86.
Okay, that makes sense, right? Yeah.
And maybe before that, I knew Nick before that, Nick Lowe. Anyway, when I got the first...
I met him in 78, so I think I predate you a little bit.
Exactly.
On that.
How I came to play with him was that it was at the first gigs after the lockdown and everything.
Yeah. Right.
And he had these two shows that were not going to be rescheduled, and he just desperately wanted to do these gigs. He could not get Steve Naive, the keyboard player, Attractions and Posture Salon, out of France because he lives in Paris, and they'd done all the hoops and all the paperwork and could not get him abroad. He goes, but I'll try to make it quick. When he called me, it was not long. It's like the year after the freeze and everything. So I was literally cutting down dead trees and basically like a lumberjack. I looked like I was attacked by a tiger from
covered with scrapes and scratches.
Exactly. And I kept getting this call. There was a random call. And
you're not going to answer a random call?
No, actually, I do. I do answer random calls because...
That's your business?
Well, you never know who it's going to be, case in point.
Right.
Well, this was the same month that all those, we'd like to talk to you about your car. You remember that, like those 2 months? Or maybe it was just my 2 months. So I kept getting this call, and I was like, this is that people trying to sell me a car warranty.
Right.
Which, by the way, I should have picked up one of those calls. I need that.
Yeah.
Anyway, after about 3 days of that, I had 15 minutes. I'd been with a chainsaw cutting down dead trees and all the stuff, and I was eating a taco, and I had to race to see Lucinda, play with Lucinda Williams in town. And this call comes through. I was at home for literally 10 minutes to change clothes and get to this gig. And I'm like, I'm going to tell these people to piss off. You know?
Yeah.
I thought it was the car.
Yeah, right. The salespeople.
Hello, Charlie. It's Elvis Costello. I'm like, oh, hey, Elvis, what's up? I've been calling you for 4 days. I literally thought it was. I only picked up the phone to go, listen, don't call this number again. I don't want your. I'm trying not to curse. I'm trying
That's
to be,
great.
You know.
Well, are you going to be playing with? I know we're talking Archangels, but are you going to be playing with Elvis anywhere around here? Or I know you guys are going back out, right?
It was actually real special because he came and did the closest he's really gotten was the show we did in December.
Oh, that's right. There was a benefit or a charity show.
Yeah, for MTF, the hand surgeon.
So,
yeah, we're talking with the Archangels, by the way, 9 o'clock, letting everybody know. And we've got a special show coming up on May 4th. Did I guess that right? I can't remember in my brain. And
yes.
Good. And we're telling you, we're going to give you more details on that in a second.
Chris, we got to catch up with you because you've been a road warrior, too.
I made cornbread day before yesterday.
You did?
Yeah, it's really good.
You don't have a cornbread person at this point in your life that makes
Wait a minute.
the cornbread for you?
When we walked in here, the reason we're on fire, he immediately goes to the refrigerator. I'm like, what are you doing? Stop looking. He's like looking at stuff. I'm like, eat the taco.
Don't eat anything out of that refrigerator.
No.
That stuff, I can't. There's stuff in there from the Ladybird left back here. So
Oh, good. Oh, what? No, I ate some cornbread this morning.
Oh, good. You've been out. Who have you been out with these days?
Well, I do one of three things.
I know Kenny Wayne, right?
Kenny Wayne. I do Experience Hendrix. I'm the drummer for that.
How is that? That's good. I haven't caught
That's
that
great.
yet.
That's great because I get to play with all these great people, and it's it can be anybody. It can be Kev Mo, and then it's Buddy Guy, and then it's Zach Wilde. From the Zach Wilde, and then it'd be Caesar and David from Los Lobos, and then and it's just and I play drums with all of them, and it's about a 3-hour deal.
Wow,
and,
including you did the last tour when Mitch did it, right?
with Mitch did, yeah.
That's cool.
Mitch and I did double drums. He was a special guest star, if you will. But because
because of the whole thing.
I like-
writing the songs and all
I'm going to
that.
let this guy get up for a minute. You know?
special guest.
And you're still in town? Like, I don't see you at the Target anymore.
I don't live out there anymore.
I know. We used to run into each other at Target.
Because he's making his own clothes now.
Oh, is he?
I
You're not buying
got-
You're not buying Cherokee anymore.
I've got my own clothesline I'm working
Look at
on.
that.
Do you really?
Not really, but
He's got that
But
car.
yes.
I got my car. See, I've got badges. It's a badge for my car. I got hats. You want a hat?
The jacket looks great.
Thank
I'd
you.
buy it. Make it.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, that deal was easy to
Okay, I got one sale.
No, wait a minute. Are you making the patch or the jacket?
I'm making the patch.
Okay.
Ralph Lauren made the jacket.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I do this thing that comes around about every 18, 24 months. This thing we do with Stephen Stills called The Rides. We have a 5-piece band, and we make a record and go do a tour, and
That's amazing.
and I walk the dogs. I make cornbread, and I'm
Doing all the regular
Archangels.
all the regular stuff. I know the Archangels.
I do regular stuff. I do really regular
I know that
stuff.
about
Mow
you.
lawns.
It's not
and-
all just
kinda like
regular
Charlie.
stuff, though.
Lumberjack type stuff. Cut trees
stuff with
and-
your hands.
Yeah, stuff
Aren't you
with the
guys
hands.
worried when you work with your hands?
No.
Then you make your living with your hands.
No, you should always be worried.
Yeah.
I got into dirt bike riding during the pandemic and then quickly had an accident and broke my collarbone, of which I went to Alton Baron.
Which, by the way, I told you that was going to happen.
Yeah,
or
you
I
did
didn't
tell me.
you.
Everybody told me that. I'm like, and then
Actually, I didn't tell you that. I just thought
Oh, you
it.
did. You didn't? Okay.
I have a question
That's
for
the other
you.
thing. I can't remember who tells me what anymore.
I have a double trouble question for you.
Okay.
So during the pandemic, I leaned I've always been kind of an audiophile. I've always collected records. First time I met Elvis Costello, in fact, was at Inner Sanctum Records in '78.
Yeah.
He was Nick Lowe. He's back in the office. I was buying his record the day it came out, based on the cover alone. And I was Fast Eddie or Joe, whoever was working the counter at the time at Inner Sanctum, goes, come to the office with me. And I thought, I don't know what kind of offer he was going to make me. I go back to the office of Inner Sanctum Records in 1978. Elvis Costello and Nick Lowe are sitting on the desk back there, and I got to meet them. And they just happened to be in the store that day, and it was a cool experience.
That's the double trouble question?
No, the double trouble. I'm leaning in. I tell you, I know. I'm going back to tell
Elvis
you.
Costello
I'm
and
going
double
back
trouble.
to tell you
No,
that. I've been
the
collecting-
question was, those guys should have been called Double Trouble, don't you
What's
think?
the part about me?
I'm the idiot.
Yeah, let's look.
I'm the
hey,
idiot.
We're
that-
talking to me now, okay?
I'm the idiot that still buys music. Okay, I keep you guys alive. So I leaned into my audiophile tendencies during the the pandemic because I had to do, everybody's got to do something, right?
Yes.
So I'm buying more records. I'm buying audiophile pressings and
tube amps
and
stylists
and expensive turntables and things like, not expensive, but I pick up a copy of I think it was Couldn't Stand the Weather. What does Tin Pan Alley on?
Couldn't Stand the Weather.
Couldn't Stand the Weather.
Remastered.
I get a remastered. The guy from Salinas, Kansas. That guy.
Yes, Chad Casson from Acoustic Sounds.
45 RPM, heavyweight vinyl, great packaging.
What, a 12-inch 45? How'd that work?
That's what you spin it at 45. You get so much more detail.
Multiples, obviously.
Yeah, you've got.
I got a story. Okay,
so I'm playing Tin Pan Alley. Okay. Now, all the tracks on there impeccably recorded, sound great. There's something about Tin Pan Alley on that record that just it just pops.
Well,
you know what's funny about that?
That's an old number for y'all, though.
And it is like, it's like you are in the room.
Okay, I got two stories. I got two quick. I'm sure they're quick stories. Chad Casson brought me to Salina, Kansas because he wanted me to hear.
To approve it?
Yeah. Yeah.
They remastered a bunch of them.
It's out of my control.
Chad said, "Look, we think Fonseca." Go ahead, Charlie.
You can either say no 10 times, or you can just come to Kansas and listen to it, and I'll do whatever you want. Just leave me alone.
Also, Bob has taken records back. He's bought records and said, "This doesn't sound right."
Let's go back to Elvis Costello.
Yeah. But Chad talks like that. Chad's got that weird voice, like Chad Casson.
Hey, dude,
he goes, "Buy now or cry later."
Chad says, "Hey, dude, I want you to come hear this record." He's from southern Louisiana, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chad's got a fabulous story. But he sits me down with this $750,000 sound system in this reference room, and he goes, dude, you got to listen to this, man, because I think the top end, it's all digital. He goes, there's something funny with the top end. I mean, tell me what you hear. You know this better than anybody. So I listened to, I don't know, Tin Pan Alley was.
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, it's a little crisp up there." I go, "What are you gonna? I mean, what are you trying to do anyway? You was just create this deluxe special package." I go, "It's fine, man." He went, "Yeah, but dude, man," I said, that was it. I mean, that's really the whole story, right? But the thing about Tin Pan Alley is that it was the first time that we were really productively in the studio with John Hammond, right, in New York, the power station. And John used to come, and he brought the New York Times, and his wife made him a little sack lunch every day. He wore his little tweed jacket, and he would sit there and read the paper. And every once in a while, he'd make a comment. That's the kind of producer he was. Just let you do your thing. And so we were setting up for that record, and Richard Mullen, who was engineer, said, "Why don't you guys just do something, just anything?"
Yeah, just let me check the levels.
Yeah, just check levels. See, we're checking things in here, and Stevie said Tin Pan Alley, so I did the drum roll, and then we went into it, and when it was over, John Hammond said, "That is you."
Exactly.
Wow. We went, "What?" He goes, "That's the epitome of what you are together." And we went, "No, we can do it better than that." And we were just setting up, just getting set, and that was the track. We actually tried to cut it like
incredible.
8 or 9. Yeah,
you can hear
the point I was making at that point. Because you've been playing, that was on the original set. That was
we've been
always
doing it
around.
forever.
So it was kind of like
right,
scratching your ear or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's like going back and getting your first baseball glove. I got they go, "Yeah, that's it. That's your glove."
I always wanted to ask you about that because that track popped out in my mind when I heard it. You can hear the room. You can hear Stevie's tubes.
Oh yeah, it's
humming in the back. If you really have a good system, you can. Why aren't more? Maybe you guys are why aren't more musicians audiophiles? Or do you have good systems at home? Or do you not care about listening to music or your own music?
Do you have a good stereo?
No, you care.
Hey.
But no, come on. Do you have do you know what I mean? Like
you asked me a serious question about 10 million maybe funny things go through my mind.
Right. I know.
I have an answer to you.
I've noticed that a lot of musicians, I don't see them buying expensive gear to reproduce the music.
I have an answer. I think I have my own answer towards that. You ever heard the old thing called the busman's holiday?
No.
Okay. That's the guy who's the Greyhound bus driver, right? And that's all he does is drive all across the country is all year long. And that's his job, right? And then when he gets home, they go, "Well, you probably have a really cool bus you drive around when you get home, right?"
You don't.
No, you kind of go, "Yeah, I'm kind of tend to get away from buses."
Right.
But in making music and spending so much time in studios and on stage and all the thing that it's really, and it's just me, is when I get home, the last thing I want to do is get home and just start listening to music and getting music.
Let me ask you this question.
Hence the delicious cornbread that's in your house right now.
Yeah, good cornbread with cheese.
Let me ask you both this question then. Do you realize the impact that you have when you're making the music, that there are those of us out there that are trying to squeeze everything out of what you do?
No.
You don't.
Yeah, well, it depends.
Yeah.
I mean, no, really. I mean.
Well, it's kind of two different things. You don't want to. That's not. If you're thinking about that when you're doing it,
that takes the.
Yeah.
Well, then kind of a buzzkill.
Well, no, then you're making a TV screen or something. I mean, it's not.
I understand.
Yeah, it's a bigger. That's a bigger question.
It's a bigger question.
But
just know that we're out there.
Not thinking is where you want to get to.
Okay.
Not thinking.
Okay,
right?
That's good.
Oh, yeah, but you know what? Deeper in that, I was going to say, it's just
Right.
for me.
I get that.
For me, it's an entirely selfish pursuit. Meaning that in the moment, I'm thinking, how good can I make this? And it's not like I want to make it good so that Bob will. It's not that it is one. It's two separate things. Mm-hmm. But the first order of business, like, can we make this better? What's the best we can make this be? And that's really the chief concern. Because then it's kind of like saying, people say, "Hey, well, you're a blues drummer, right?" I go, "I don't know. I don't call myself anything. I just try to play drums real good, and then let everybody else take what they will from that." And through time, plenty of people said this and that and the other. I love it. If someone says, "You know what? It meant this. I got this from it," and I go, "That's great."
Did you always have that? Because there is that need sometimes when you're in art. I think if you're younger, you're trying to control what your narrative is and how people are going to see you.
I never did.
When you have that, those are the artists I know that stay really miserable for a long time because they're trying to say,
"Hey, leave me alone, man."
Okay, don't pick on Charlie.
Right,
Come on,
they're saying, "Hey, here's the fan base I want.
I've come a long way.
I want this fans. I want them to do this. I want them to see me this way." And I remember talking to a guy a long time ago. He said, "That's really disrespectful to do to the fans that found you and came along. They're the ones that are hearing what you're doing, and you have to learn to kind of let go." And maybe that's what you're talking about, Charlie, about you got to, all the stuff has to disappear and you're in the moment and there is no, it just pours out. Every interview I see, it does almost the same thing. It comes up where they say, in that moment, that song, I thought about nothing. Those songs,
they come out of the
just
ether.
pour out of you. You don't work them out. They just come out of you when you're an artist.
So my very first real experience when I met Stevie, and I had this sense about him, but when we started working together, the only thing he cared about was that it was the best. This is a personal statement, really, from him. Was that it was the best that he could do, and it was absolutely the realest thing. And everything else, with him, it was actually a struggle because nothing else actually he didn't give a shit. I didn't care about anything else. Right. So you take that, and that's a really the purest expression. I go, but God was absolutely real. It wasn't like, well, if we do this, there could be a Grammy and in the top 10, and we could play. That was not in his scope at all.
Wasn't at all.
He had cared nothing about it.
And one of the reasons probably didn't go out with Bowie.
Well, yeah,
there's a lot of reasons.
No, actually, that was that was a key moment as all that was going on. And 2 times it came to me. Twice I thought when someone said twice. Well, it was twice that journalist asked me. They said, "What is it that you want in your life more than anything?" He said, with your music, he said, "I just want to be able to make my own music and do it with my own band. That's all I really care about." And I thought, where is that in this whole ether of everything that's swirling around? Having nothing to do with anybody.
At the nucleus is where it's at.
No, right. It was like at the heart of the whole matter. It didn't matter about this, that, or the other stories or anything. I thought, I wonder how this figures into it. So when he left, they parted, and he came back, I go, well, there's the truth in what he had said, because he spoke that kind of truth.
Yeah. Was there a moment where you worried that or did you know him well enough did you think, he's going to split and we're done?
It's one of those things where
Bowie's got some gravitas. He's got some pull.
Yeah, but Stevie.
It all worked out fine.
But it did. It worked out. It worked out fine. But the only thought I went, well, where is the truth in what those statements were?
Right.
And then that truth ended up becoming what the truth was. So the rest of it is a narrative, and everybody makes up their own version or their own side of the stories, or whatever anybody feels like they need to do with that idea. Right?
Real quick,
you went out with. Are we going to break?
Yeah, let me put in the plugs, okay?
Okay,
we missed it.
Come on.
Thursday.
Come on, it's going to sell out. It's going to sell out.
No. I'm putting in your plugs. You're here. You're here. I'm going to plug you for a moment.
We're looking
Let's
for
go.
And then we're going to plug the mattresses. In fact, is it cool? Are you guys Mark talked to you guys about recording a couple of mattress butts while you're in here, right?
Mattress for emergencies. Sorry.
See, hey,
let's do the plug. Let's do the plug. Forget all that stuff I was just talking about. Let's do the plug.
No.
The plug is important because it's even though it's less about us than it is. So.
Well, that's what I want to say, because this is going to be a remarkably intimate chance to catch you guys in a way that we don't always see you. Okay, it's happening Thursday, May 4th. It's at the Riverbend Center. You guys are playing. You're playing along with Madame Radar, who are listed in every top 10 in the city. They're doing incredibly well right now. But you're raising money for basically superhero kids. That's Dell Children's Blood and Cancer Center. For HAM, which it can never stress that. Well, I almost got teary for a second. You can never stress enough how much good work HAM has done for the city. Yes. And they become more and more important every week that goes by as the affordability in the city has become ridiculous. It is so... Musicians are working 19 jobs to pursue what they want to do. And I'm not mad at you all, but some of you who go see a guy playing other people's music off their laptop, I sometimes get frustrated at. And then the Step Onward Foundation. And I think what's awesome about this and why I want to plug it is that it's an event where you get to go. It's a center where you guys usually don't play. It has comfortable seating, is what I want to say.
It's like an indoor amphitheater almost, the way it's constructed.
You get to go and watch these guys do what they do, the best in the game, and also you're doing a good thing. We're raising some money for some very important events in there. So that's all I want to do with the plug. We'll get to the matches in a second.
Thanks to our friend Bill here, because it's his organization.
Bill, you want to tell us real quick? Sorry, we've kind of dropped you up, but Bill, real quick, do you want to tell us what's happening and why this is also important?
Yeah, you bet. C4AC, which originally stood for Concerts for Austin Charities, but it was too long and nobody could remember it, and we couldn't incorporate it under that name, so we ended up C4AC. We've been around for, I guess, since 2015. Came up with the idea, instead of doing galas, sit-down dinners, eating chicken, that we would do music events as a vehicle to raise money. And first one we did was in 2016 for Dell Children's, and it was very successful. And we created a not-for-profit after that and been doing it ever since. And we usually do a big show every year at ACL Live. The Archangels played back in 2022, yeah. I'm completely losing track of time. We had Doyle, Kenny Wayne, Shepard, and some other folks play in 20 right before
the weirdness.
Yep. And then we had Lucas Nelson do the first Austin Cares concert back in 2019. This year we've had some issues, so we're rebuilding kind of our fund account, shooting towards the possibility of bringing Austin Cares concert back in January. We're going upscale. Looks like it's going to be at the Moody Center, which will be a very interesting step up for us. And we need to do some events in the meantime, and we had the opportunity.
Well, this is remarkable, though. Yeah. I mean, because to be able to sit, this is a venue where I can get way closer to these guys than I can at the Enormo Dome.
Yes.
I mean, hey, bless all those places. And those are fun shows. But this gets exciting.
Yes.
This is where
Yeah, when Mark and I went to tour it, we were just really impressed. The intimacy of, a 2,100, 2,200 seat venue, because it is in a big amphitheater. If you know the story, when Gerald Mann built it, he's great friends with Willie Nelson. He built it as a music venue where you would do church services rather than a church where you would occasionally do music. It's a great room for music. Great acoustics, great sight lines, good lighting, free parking, as we say. Joke about
ample free parking.
That's why it's called an ample theater.
Ample theater. Yeah. They're fancy because it's CENTRE. So they've
it's a Centra?
Yeah,
not a Centra?
They've gone upscale. They've gone upscale. Yeah, but it's just a great location, and it's just going to be a great show. Madame Radar always raises the bar. I don't know if any of you all saw the show at Hotspot last year, but Madame Radar just kicked butt in the opening set.
Heard about it. Yep.
I mean, as a music fan, that was the best I'd ever seen you guys play that night. And I don't know if it was just the excitement off the crowd.
It was because it was like 20 degrees and rain.
You were freezing to death. Think about us.
We had to keep moving to survive.
We were out there in the rain. It was like 40 degrees, and it was the best show I have seen in a long time, out in horrible circumstances. So I said, I want to do that again, but in comfortable seats with no rain because I'm old and I just don't like that crap.
Yes, one album. The reason there was not a second album is because the Archangels, in some ways, kind of didn't have anything to do with us because it just sort of happened in a very natural,
organic way, right?
Well, I mean, y'all mentioned on the way in, which I would never say, the Austin Supergroup thing or whatever,
right?
And it was. I mean, I think Chris would agree with me. It's kind of almost like a little much like the name. It's kind of a sacred situation in a way for us.
Yeah, and we have, even since the last time you guys would have been here, we probably have doubled the population in the 3 years or whatever in the city. People that don't know the background, you're the Archangels. It's not really, I mean, Austin Rehearsal Complex.
That's where
No, well, you know what?
Well, go ahead.
The quick story is Stevie and Jimmy were going to go promote their family style record. We were going to have some months off, first time ever in a decade. Me and Tommy. And I bumped into Charlie and Doyle, which I didn't know was living back in town. And then
at the Austin
Rehearsal Complex.
Yeah.
And Charlie was back in his room and he was playing this song. And I went, "What is that?" He said, "That's the song Doyle and I wrote." I go, "What is it? What's it called?" He goes, "Living in a Dream." I went, and I thought, that's amazing. But it was like, to me, it was like a moment of like nothing but pure inspiration. I don't know what you or Doyle were thinking, but I went, that's great. And I said, hey, why don't we get a band together? I go, we could go do some gigs. And this was right before we went to Alpine Valley to do these shows with Clapton. And then Stevie died. Yeah. I came back and then we got an offer to play with Robert Cray and that Mark Proct. He told a little white lie. So, yeah, Chris and Tommy got this new band with Charlie and Doyle. Robert said, we got to have them open up for us. So we just said, okay, we'll go do a gig. But the name, we were sitting out front smoking cigarettes, and Mark drives up. He goes, "You guys got a gig like in 3 days. Do you have a name?" We go, "No, we don't." We go, "No, we don't have a name. We don't have a
guys.
name." And I remember I was looking at the sign, and somebody thought, "Hey, how about Michael and the Archangels?" And somebody said, "There's nobody named Michael in the band."
Did you say that?
Yeah, Doyle actually reminded me. We talked recently. Doyle said, "Do you remember when you said all that?" And I said,
he would remember that.
He said, "You remember there was no Michael in the band?" I was like, "Yeah, I knew there was no Michael." And I said, "What about the Archangels?" And I was like, "Yeah, whatever, that's cool." And then we went and did the gig, and then all hell broke loose, so to speak. And then that was
and the reason we didn't do, the reason I said it's a sacred thing, the reason we never made a second record. Outside, sorry, I'm going to try not to digress.
Right.
Was because for numerous reasons Doyle left the band.
Oh, okay.
And so when that happened, the management and the label, everybody came out because this was. I mean, it was like one of the few rock and roll bands around.
Yeah, right.
And
you had Little Steven producing
rock and roll bands. We got to do this, And anyway, the label came in, the management of the town. What are we going to do? Should we replace them with? It was like, was it Derek part of the? There was all these people they were suggesting to take Doyle's place. Was Derek Trucks one of them?
Oh.
There was all these people. I'm like, no, none of this. No.
Yeah. You were like, no, this is our thing. This is the thing that we did.
The band
is
Doyle, me,
And it was the band. The band were the four of us. The band were the four of us, and that was kind of. Yeah. It was just that was the sacred part. It was like, no, that's the band. That's why everything that anybody.
It's all or nothing.
That's why that existed that way, because it was us, not because we'll get. Yeah, there was a guitar player from Till Tuesday wanted to come and audition. It's like, no, we were both like, no, we're not really taking auditions. No, it's just not going to work.
And that's kind of the cool mystique too about the whole thing. One and done in the records, but you guys are back together and you've played gigs in the past. You've done things.
Yeah.
We did the DVD thing at Stubbs a million years ago and put that together, and we did some new tracks when we mixed all that audio, And so there's been this, and Doyle and I have continued to work together, and we all do.
And you guys are consummate pros, but is it difficult to come back into Archangels land musically?
That's why I use the word sacred. I know that's kind of a ridiculous thing to say, to a certain extent.
I love it.
I know you would. Yeah, love you, Whipper.
I love sacred. No, that's good.
It's true. Because the irony is every time we've been getting together over the last whatever, it's better every time. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, how can you say that? When can you say that?
Is Archangels your busman's holiday?
Pardon me?
Is Archangels your busman's holiday? We're talking about, is it where you get to go and say, hey, I'm not actually working. I'm in this. I'm with this friends. Is almost my vacation. These are my friends.
I just think it just has its own little. You know what? I don't even need to. I don't need an
it.
answer to what it is.
You know what? You know, it's a certain family type thing because we've all known each other literally our whole lives.
Because when you guys are together,
and ultimately,
I feel like I'm watching three brothers when you guys are. You know what I mean? You guys, you finish each other's sentences. You're just there. You're in a moment. You guys you seem really happy when you're with each other.
I've known Charlie since he was 9 years old.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, that's all I have to say about all that.
And really, and personally for me, when the band, we did this one gig, and so I'm like, oh my God, people were excited. Oh, yeah. You know, it was the reason personally that I did it. I said, you know what? Chris and Tom are my friends. I think it's fair to say Stevie was my friend.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd all lost a friend.
Yeah.
And it was it seemed like a really important thing. I said, okay, whatever ideas, whatever aspirations, what do you want? This is something I personally, I think I need to do. You know.
You know what? And Charlie expressed that to me. I actually get emotional now thinking about it.
It's okay.
I've spent a lot of time working through all that, but yeah, it was everybody kind of coming to everybody's help.
Yeah, and the irony is the ones that were the least familiar with each other were Doyle and I. Mm-hmm. We didn't really know each other. We were both young, but we were separated by distances. And
is that something that could happen in Austin today with the size of the city? And
I don't know.
I feel like there was a time when we all knew.
It kind of can, because my son, unfortunately, has become a musician. Yeah. And not really a joke, but I always say, it's like I was going to tell him, don't do this. Yeah, but then he actually was talented, so I couldn't tell him not to do it. So. But yeah, it still can happen.
You know what I think? I think anything that's my belief is that anything that's meant to happen somehow can and will happen.
Yeah. Well, you're looking at it here too, I think. Okay. Exactly. You know,
we can't see because of the camouflage, but yeah,
I'm blending in.
I'm trusting what you say.
Yeah. Being on a show is a lot like being in a band. I suspect, because I've never been in a band. I don't think you've ever been in a band. You've been a stand-up comic.
I was in high school. I was in a band where we played computers to make music.
Yeah,
let's not get into it in front of actual rock.
You know what though?
The band was steaming the Dutch.
It's like a family. It's like we've been down in the trenches and we've been everywhere together.
Yeah.
It's not at all unlike. In fact, it's as much like a family. Mm-hmm. So I mean, the unity, whenever that for whatever time that holds, that you'll literally go through everything together, and that's the thing that's special about it.
Mm-hmm. You guys
and
are
then
part.
There's the music. We might be in bands, and we're talking about. It could be a band of anything, though, as far as I'm concerned.
But I think too, what possibly speaks to why you guys feel like you're better every time that you go out is that you go out and have these experiences with Dylan and Kenny Wayne and the Hendrix stuff, and Doyle's out with Clapton right now, and then you guys bring that knowledge and that truth and everything back into the Archangels, right?
Well, yeah, and it is kind of a holiday in a way. Yeah. Not the Busmans, maybe, but it's a holiday. Matt, sorry.
I can't wait to see this show, dude. It's been a hot minute since I've seen you guys.
You guys, one of the things is that you are remarkably humble for all of your successes, but you are a part. We've woven a fabric that we write the story of the city on, and you can't be removed from that. I mean, both of you have contributed so much to the story of what is the lore that now people are all coming here for they want that feel. Oh, I want part of what Austin is, and the two
they don't
of you
even know what it is anymore.
No, and I know that. I mean,
I'm not being a.
I know you're not being a dick, but you're saying we all feel
time.
that. But I think that's one of the reasons that every single morning when we turn on these microphones, we say, I don't want to start calling people that have moved here a-holes because they don't know the whole story. It's our job to make sure to keep telling that story. And I think sometimes all of us got so busy telling our own stories that we forgot to go back in time a little bit and remind everybody how we got to where we are. But I know you're going to push back on this, Charlie, because you're a hard man to compliment. But there's no my story in Austin without arriving. I mean, I arrived here in August of 1990, which is
oh really?
Yeah. I mean, wow. I remember that morning like yesterday, and my story begins where a huge part of your story, Chris, and so watching you guys, and I mean, even getting to talk to you guys, you're a big chunk of what Austin is and why we're all still in love with the city and why a lot of us can't divorce ourselves from the
that's
city.
Funny. Charlie Jones from C3, he had almost an identical story what you just said about just getting here and that happening, and he was listening to a song.
I got here early in the summer, and a friend said, hey, let's go see Stevie Ray Vaughan. Is there anything more Austin to do? And I said, I kind of want to go out because I know somebody has a 6-pack. And my thing was, I was 18. I was like, I want to go get drunk. And I can go see music whenever. And that's when we talk about regrets you have in your life, to be like, oh, I wanted to go drink a 6-pack because I could. I mean, I would really trade that 6-pack today, you know? But all those things that, I mean, there's still joy and wonder in this city that I find all the time. I got to search for it. I got to turn over more rocks sometimes. I to turn over more Teslas to find some of the stories.
Hey, wait a minute.
But they're there. This is a wonderful.
Hold on, let me unplug.
There's still a really wonderful. Now it's time for you guys.
Supercharging at the Riverbend Center.
We're way over.
I know.
And I need you guys to read your mattress spot now, please, if you don't mind. Or if you could sing the Thundercloud jingle, roast beef and avocado.
I mean, where's Melford?
I know, right? That's different band.
We'll bring Storyville in next time and do it. Guys, thank you so much. Again,
Dude,
Archangels, absolute joy. May 4th, you can get information at KLBJFM.com. Just go to the concert and calendars page. That's where we always have links to all of this stuff. And thank you also to C4AC coming in and sponsoring this event. It's a great event. We still have to continue to take care of the city and take care of musicians, take care of children, take care of everybody. Stop being so angry in traffic. And